the hell are you?
Who the hell are you? Sorry. I feel really bad for that guy. Thanks so much to Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw for making this video possible. Grab your Blu-ray DVD today and you'll get 80 minutes of bonus footage and behind the scenes. So with that, on to the video. What's going on, guys? David here, and believe it or not, I got to train with the stunt coordinators and the stunt fighters for Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw in London. So I found myself in London. I went to the McLaren factory, got to tour that, and I also got to drive a McLaren 720S in honor of Shaw in the movie because he drives one. But at the same time, they wanted to have me feel like what it's like to work with stunt coordinators and stunt teams and reenact the tattoo parlor scene at the very beginning of the movie. Now, I look nothing like The Rock, but I got to be The Rock for a day. And that's why I call this the deleted scene you never saw. That dude in blue had some stopping power, somewhat. I found myself in London, which was very wet and cold. It was my very first time there. And we went to this little small brick building in downtown, and I got to meet the stunt coordinators. And the stunt team, along with Chris O'Hara, they were absolutely incredible people.
Yes, you've got time.
Okay.
Okay, and go.
Boom, boom, and then throw.
That's it.
Okay.
Next.
Just take a beat.
Take a beat, you've
Okay.
got time, you've got control of him, and then
Okay.
yeah?
Got it. But at the same time, I had to learn this entire fight scene in about 25 to 30 minutes. So how was it done? How did we do it? And what was it like? But before I show the breakdown of how I learned it, here's a side-by-side of my scene versus The Rock's scene. Overall, it's the same exact scene. And the only difference is I'm not gonna say that line that The Rock says at the beginning.
I'm what you call an ice cold can of whoop.
Would you really take me seriously if I said that line? So I just pretended to be me when somebody random comes up to me and verbally assaults me.
Who the hell are you?
Who the hell are you? I've had some previous experience with stunt work, more so with stunt drivers because I'm so associated with the automotive world, but doing an actual fight scene gave a whole new perspective on things. Hear me out though, it's very strange to compare, but it's a lot like dancing. You kind of do this dance where you learn the moves and your cues are off everybody else that you work with. It's essentially beat for beat for beat. This guy comes in, he comes like that. Okay, I need to remember what I'm doing basically 2 steps ahead. But I think the most important aspect is to pace yourself. If you don't pace yourself, you screw up.
in the face.
Sure did.
You headbutted him?
Yes,
Did you throw him in the corner?
I did.
Perfect, so now we're gonna move on. Who stole my drink? We've got the tray.
Got it.
There's your tray, you hold on to that, and we're gonna shut the door. So as I come in, slam the door on my...
This is a separate person coming.
It'd be another one now. This is... He travels in and we go, slam. But his friends come in as well. And we go, you hold it here and here he comes, wham, perfect. From there we would drop our tray. And we go like that. There's my elbow,
Right arm.
there's the man. Yes, boom, with my right arm. They're coming from that direction there. So let's tray. Yeah, you've left the door open, wham. Wham, drop the tray. You? Yeah, put that to me. Oh, thanks a lot. Oh, God. Have a look at the time on his watch. Nice, lift it up a little bit higher.
all the way up.
Now grab him by the shoulder
With this arm.
with that arm and throw him into me. Shaboom.
And I was so cold being in London that I was wearing this beanie, and every time I went to throw a punch, the beanie would come down on my face and I couldn't see anymore. I'm so using that. I'm not a huge like, oh, my hair looks ugly, but I just didn't want to have the beanie hair. You know that beanie hair you get where it like almost hurts to move? I had that going on, so I was like, I'll just keep it on. I would say that the hardest part about doing the entire scene was kicking, disrespecting that poor man at the end.
Just load up this punch, come out, crack all the way through, and send that punch all the way past his head. It's a rocky punch, it's a knockout punch, yeah? Nice. Nice one, I like that.
Sorry. I also got to interview two amazing people. One, his name is Alex King. He's worked on a ton of films working with stunt cars and stunt vehicles, and he is one of the people that helped prepare the McLaren 720S for filming on Hobbs and Shaw. The modifications for the 720S were actually fairly minor in the grand scheme of things. Some movies you have to do a ton of work in order to have a proper stunt vehicle. The 720S though, they disabled the airbags, and when it comes to traction control, they just turned it off. And going back to the airbags, the reason they did that was so they didn't come out during like jumps and different stunts like that if there was stress to the car. They removed the torque and speed limitations, therefore they could do a J-turn really aggressively. Everything else was stock motor, and the car was pretty much untouched after that. So here's Alex King, and here's some of the questions I asked him. It was really interesting. Hey, what's going on, guys? David here with Mr. Alex. How are you?
I'm very well, David.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you.
I'm just gonna ask him very simple questions, make it easy. And so first of all, what got you into the industry, the stunt industry and the car industry and all that good stuff?
It's almost part luck. My old boss asked me to come in and help out on a film many years ago, a guy called Graham Kelly.
Okay.
And from the first day, it was something, you know, just the smell of oil and fuel and it was just cars and bikes, and I was like, this is amazing, you know, and I haven't looked back since, really.
When you're working on a production and you guys are working on all the cars, are you building multiple versions of the cars for stunts and also glamour shots and stuff like that? Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
okay.
Complete sense, yeah.
Okay.
So for example, like this one, we would have, we had 4 cars.
Okay.
And you got 2 stunt cars and 2 hero cars.
Yeah, to look pretty, and then the ones you can beat up. Right?
Yeah, you got to have one that's rigged for camera, one's rigged for stunts with a replacement perhaps, and one beauty car for our actors. When it gets a little bit more funky and there's more action,
right.
Then you got ones with cages, or 3 with cages, or 6 with cages, and some that special effects put cannons in.
And then you're shooting at different angles to avoid some of those things. And
yeah,
then
and then
you have the hero car with just the inside.
Yeah.
There's so much to it that people don't know about.
Yeah, there's footwork as well, and gear shift or pedal shift or whatever it is.
Harder,
and
dude.
oh my
Make
god,
it look violent, you know.
And I guarantee you, I've never shot one car chase sequence. Well, like I say, I shoot. Well, I've never been involved in a movie where we've got a car chase sequence where they shoot it sequentially. It's always, you know,
out of
they
order,
shoot the
right?
middle. It's all over the place. Sometimes when you're working with cars like this, the technology it's the small little things that kind of make you pause and think, how do you get round and what's the solution?
Traction control, stability control. Hey, you need to do a donut. Well, how can I without a manual hydraulic e-brake or something like that?
Exactly, and all the cars are now designed with all these safety elements in, and we have to sort of take it all back to the 1970s almost.
Exactly. Like, it's interesting to see, you know, the days of like Steve McQueen and stuff like that where they're just going for it. You know, there's no stability control, nothing. And then you have the McLaren, which has incredible don't mess up factor, but at the same time I could see how that could be a little, I don't know if frustrating is the right word, but almost just trying to find out how to turn everything off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate it. Pleasure meeting you.
No, pleasure's mine.
All right, thank you guys. So talking to Alex King was absolutely fantastic, but the second interview, I was blessed enough to interview the director of the movie. David Leitch, the director of Deadpool 2, the first John Wick, some movies you might have heard of. He worked on a ton of different movies as a stuntman and stunt coordinator, so Going from the stunt scene in the film industry, transitioning into directing action movie flicks was fairly seamless over the years. And I think it's really neat to see his progression, and now he got to direct the spin-off of the Fast and Furious franchise. So take a look, here it is. Here's my interview with David. So when I learned that I was gonna get to meet you, I was very, very excited because I'm a huge stunt performer fan, because I feel like they're kind of underappreciated if you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So what was it like going from like the basement of Fight Club to V for Vendetta and all these really amazing stunt performing films, and then finally your door is open to finally be like, okay, I got my own stuff, you know, you can really go for it. And going from Atomic Blonde, which had a fairly lower budget, and I could just turn it all the way to 11. What was that even like?
It's a crazy ride, you know, my coming up through the business.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change a thing. Without the experiences I've had as a stunt performer, as a fight choreographer, as a second unit director, I wouldn't be as prepared for the onslaught of movies like this. You know,
right.
Deadpool and Fast and Furious are both like massive franchises that you have to maintain, but also huge logistical puzzles that I think I manage better than most directors, because I have this years of being in the business and experiences with not only with actors. You train actors as a stunt performer, but you plan budgets as a stunt coordinator. You design sequences as a stunt coordinator, and you perform. You're a performer as a stuntman, and so you can just speak to things in a different way, sort of authentically and practically, that most directors can't, because they've never had to really be in the trenches.
Right, and that's actually where I was going, is that since you have this experience of being the guy in the mud doing the stunt work, you probably understand the limitations of stuntmen's capabilities and whether they want to say yes or no doing something absolutely wild or crazy, and also the consistency. I think it's really impressive with stunt drivers, especially their consistency to do take after take after take of the same maneuvers over and over again. But that of course applies to scenes with The Rock and also Jason Statham, because their fighting styles in the movies are completely different, right? So you have like a blunt instrument, and then you have essentially a very technical martial arts style. So what was that like, going from enormously big sequences at Chernobyl and London and all that, of the 720S ripping through town, and then the next moment you have Jason Statham struggling to do an eye scanner,
You're right. We leaned into fight sequences for Jason, because he's great at them. Yeah. And I think it was really a pleasure to choreograph at a high level when you have an actor that can do it at a high level. So that was really fun. You can't remove the fight choreographer from me, so all my films have this sort of fight element that's signature 8711 style. And so more so than the cars in this, I really wanted to add a distinct style to the fighting.
Yeah, and with the cars, the cars have such good presence on their own, and you're going from the London scene and then the Chernobyl scene, but what do you think is your favorite part about making this movie?
Well, I like to lean into some of the bigger themes. There's two things that are going on. One is the theme of like people that are estranged from their families coming back together, and like it's sort of the moral of the story is it shouldn't take a world-ending virus to bring us all back together. Right. You pick up the phone and call your brother, your sister, your mom. I think the other thing is like we're not that different. We start out with these two characters and they're like polar opposites. But if you really look at the mirror sequence, what I was trying to do more symbolically or subliminally was that, I'm showing you their differences, but the fact that I'm shooting it from the exact angle and the exact perspective is that they're exactly the same. And if they could just embrace their differences and realize they're a lot more alike than they think, they could save the world. And I think that's a big message for everybody. So
getting to be The Rock and/or a stunt guy for a day was incredibly fascinating. Stunt guys are the most underrated people in the film industry. They take a beating. They come up with the fight scenes that you see on screen to teach our lead protagonist or hero character, and without them, there's no good fight scene. So it's really neat to see that side of the world and see how tough it is to learn a fight scene really quickly and be like, all right, let's film it. Let's get it done. Huge thanks to Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw for this opportunity, and make sure you grab your Blu-ray DVD copy and you'll get the alternate opening to the film as well as 80 minutes of behind the scenes moments just like you saw. Thanks so much for watching, and I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.